Hi, I am Jen Elbert. I am an actor, producer, a fight choreographer, and an intimacy director. My theater company is called The School of Night, and we do theater here in Los Angeles. And our next show is called Battlesong of Boudica, about the Celtic queen. Huge, awesome fight show. 90 minutes, no intermission. Come check it out. Man, I went to school to be an actor, and, you know, started auditioning, doing shows in Chicago. I'm born and raised in Chicago, and essentially just did a bunch of theater in Chicago, and then eventually moved to LA, and then did a bunch of theater here, did some film, some TV. It was kind of hard to find out how to get involved in shows, but I had a lot of friends here, and some people had theater companies, so they would sort of say, you know, there's an audition for this, an audition for that, make an appointment, show up, do a monologue, or, you know, whatever they had you do. And so I would get involved that way, slowly but surely. It took some time, for sure. You know, I got involved with a lot of different companies, and started to just sort of meet people and hang out and drink and eat and see shows, and eventually work on shows, audition for shows, and then start becoming a fight choreographer in those same shows. You know, just hanging out with folks really is how you do it. I mean, that's what theater community is. It's like hanging out, seeing a show, loving the show, hating the show, whatever, but you're having a beer and you're talking about the show. And that's like theater community. That's really what it is. I had been doing stage combat. I trained, I went to school, took theater classes, but also started taking stage combat, started taking every single weapon I could learn, and then I also did martial arts. And I was in a company in Chicago called Babes with Blades, which was an all-female stage combat company. And suddenly people started hiring me to do some fights here and there, here and there, here and there. I really kind of had no intention of being a fight choreographer, it just kind of happened. So I'd get called in, I'd do a show, and pretty soon the fights were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. In the meantime, I'm still doing shows with Babes with Blades, and then I moved to LA, and no fight choreography for a very long time, and then suddenly people were like, wait, you're here? Wait, I have a fight, I need you to do this fight. Okay. And then I started getting hired to do fights here, and again, sort of the same thing. People started to know, go to Jen for fights, and pretty soon I was choreographing all over the city, and then also stunt coordinating on the side for film. So it's kind of fun. But again, had no intentions of being a fight choreographer, completely by accident. My job as an intimacy coordinator is actually very similar to being a fight choreographer or a stunt coordinator. But the funny thing is that people always ask me, like, how did that start? And it's a brand new thing. And I'm like, but no, it's not. I've been doing intimacy direction for theater for a long time. It's just that we didn't have a name for it. What would happen is I'd come in to do a show, and the director would say, so we have this scene where the actors have to do this sexual thing, can you help? And of course I'd say yes, and I'd help and create the choreography essentially for the scene. So it's been around for a long time, and stunt coordinators have been doing it for a very long time as well, along with costumers and other folks in film. So now the difference is that we actually have training, we have a structure, and we have a title. Now we know what to call it. So I get to do that, and it really does go hand in hand with fight choreography. A lot of times I'm hired for both of those things, and it's a lot of the same principles: consent, boundaries, all of that. I operate the same way with fights and intimacy. The strengths and weaknesses of the LA theater scene, that's both long lists. I think there's a lot of theater here, a lot of it. which is really, really amazing. It's good to have so much diversity in the theater here. People are doing all kinds of work. Now, I think people are seeing a lot of other people's shows, which is very helpful. Some of the weaknesses, I don't know. I think the weakness is always money. You know, it takes money to put up a show. Budget constraints. I think that maybe not everybody's doing a lot of original shows. I mean, there's been quite a few shows recently that are original, but I think we're getting a lot of some of the same stuff over and over again. But I think I get the sense that the theater scene is constantly growing and cultivating and bringing in new folks and trying new and different things. I wish that we had a bigger community, or rather a community. I think that the hard thing is that not everybody knows what shows are happening when. There's no central location, place, website to find what people are doing, and that's kind of a bummer because there is so much theater here. I hope that somebody comes up with that. I think we used to have that. I think the pandemic has really hurt the community. I think we have problems with funding. There's just not enough money to go around. I think one of the really beautiful things is a lot of people just do it for the love of it. They're really not worried about getting paid or how they even look on stage, or they just want to do their art. And I think that's noble and wonderful, and it's what makes you a better actor and a better person, honestly, and a better collaborator. I think that we really have an opportunity to collaborate within the community and bring in more folks. We just have to be willing to allow that and get word of mouth going. Like, tell us about your shows. Like, please spread the word. I think we need to know where our show's happening. I think that's one of the biggest problems. I have no idea half the time where a show is, what is happening. And it's not just, I don't always want to see a show at the Geffen or TCG or Pasadena Playhouse. I want to see the smaller black box theaters with the local cast, with the group of people who got together and put up a show just because they wanted to do it, just because their friend wrote it and it happens to be amazing. There should be an opportunity for those folks to get their art out, and those small little bits of art create bigger bits of art, and then they could eventually be the Geffen or Pasadena Playhouse. But we have to cultivate those small little nuggets. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Battlesong of Boudica, yes. Well, it is a revenge tragedy. It is in verse. There's a live percussionist on stage, and it is a huge fight show and dance. There's a lot of dance in it. It is like, I say, it's a 90-minute epic, action-packed historical drama. If all of those things can happen at one place and one time, this is it. It's pretty awesome. And tons of female fighters in it, like a lot of badass fighters in this show. Romans versus the Britons. It's amazing. So Boudica was a Celtic, we'd say queen for people to understand in this time period, but she was a Celtic war chief. After her husband dies, and this takes place in 61 AD, by the way. So after her husband dies in battle with the Romans come and essentially harass, well, it's more than harass. They sexually assault her daughters. They whip her and leave her for dead. They take all of her property, all of her valuables, everything, and basically leave her homeless. And so she decides to get revenge for everything. And so, and this is true, this all happened. So she goes on this trail of revenge and gets 80,000 Celtic people to attack the Romans. This has never happened in history. Like, she was the woman who did this. 80,000 troops to destroy the 9th Legion of the Roman army, which at that time was a very big deal. And she does it. More things happen, more revenge happens. I'm not going to tell you because spoilers. She's a very well-known queen in the UK. There's actually like a monument to her in where Britannia actually was. So a lot of people from England know who she is. Americans, not so much. You know, I don't know what people expect to see in the show. I think they know there's going to be some violence. I think they probably expect some talented folks to appear on stage. I don't know that they're going to expect. I think the whipping scene is intense. A lot of people experience some emotion on that. I don't know that people expect to cry. I had a lot of people cry last time. And I don't know that people will expect catharsis. We had a lot of people after the show come up to us and say, I needed this today. This is exactly what I needed to experience. I think you're living someone else's revenge. And we don't always get to have revenge in our life, or we're emotionally developed enough that we can put away the revenge and allow that to subside. But in this case, you get to live it. You get to experience her killing everybody, if you're into that kind of thing. The show opens April 9th, 7 o'clock. April 10th is a pay what you can night. It's a Monday. But it's happening at the Hudson Backstage in, I guess, technically Hollywood. It's on Santa Monica Boulevard. And it runs through April 30th. Go see shows. See as many shows as you possibly can. Please help the theater community. We need you. If you don't like a show, that's okay. There's another one to go see. Maybe you'll like that one, but I promise you it's a diverse, wonderful group of human beings creating art that needs to be seen. It just needs to be seen. And honestly, you grow through art. It makes you a better human being, I promise you.